morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever it is wherever you might be. That music never gets old, oddly. I figured it would be. Now,
I love it. I love it.
how are you this morning?
I'm good. I'm having a week. I'm telling you. Yesterday I was supposed to be doing a user group, and I only found 4 minutes before that on Twitter, so I had to rush and do it. And this morning I got up. My alarm went off at 6:30. I opened my eyes. I check my phone, and I see, hey, are you joining this podcast? I'm like, oh. So I'm supposed to be recording something. So I literally jumped out of bed. I jumped out of bed and I went straight into a podcast. I'm like, oh man, this is not
Was
the
it a
way I
good
should be living my
podcast?
life. It was a podcast, yeah, it was a good podcast.
Yeah.
And
What you
we're
talking
up
about?
like, guess what? Identity.
Really?
Yeah, guess what? Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I don't know why people want me to talk about identity. Like I don't get it. I've got so much to talk about. No, it was good. We talked about mass identities. We talked about all sorts of things, like what's coming to identity as well, like what's in the new year, continuous CICS evaluation, token binding,
Nice.
and stuff like that. It was good. And we talked a little bit about weightlifting, which was okay.
Well, I mean, after Tuesday's show, Muscle Beach, you know,
Yeah,
you
I
and
know.
Dan.
I know. There's pressure now. You know, our guests are
know.
upping up the game.
I'm gonna have to learn what a snatch is
Ooh,
so
why?
I can talk about it and have at least some clue what everybody's doing. Good morning, Left Coast.
Good morning, H Coast. I would
Rocket
say.
Man. Rocket
Left
Man's on the
coast.
left coast.
So is that left if you're looking at the coast or if
Yeah.
you're standing? Because then left coast would be my coast.
Yeah, Rocket Man, you need to be a little bit more explicit about what left coast means. From which point of view?
Yeah. I don't know. Anyway,
Apparently, there's a fifth ocean or a fifth sea, which was announced recently. I didn't know that. I thought
Really?
there were only four. And now
Wait,
there's
so
five.
Atlantic, Pacific,
Pacific, Indian,
Indian,
uh,
Southern Ocean, like Antarctica.
Southern, yeah, and then I think Oceanic. or
Atlantic,
something?
Pacific, Indian. Atlantic,
Fifth
Pacific, Indian, Southern. What's the fifth ocean?
Arctic.
Oh, the Arctic. I guess that's the northern icy
Yes.
one.
The
Maybe
fifth
Southern Ocean wasn't actually a thing.
Yes. Yeah. Well,
I only remember the Southern Ocean because we watched that ridiculous show with the guy with the boat. He kind of looked like the Bumble.
Which one?
He's one of these. He's a guy who he goes and chases down whalers and he boards their ships and whatever. It was a long time ago. My wife and I watched it for a little while.
Okay.
Hello,
Water.
Godek.
Someone says Waterworld. Could be that.
No.
Could be that. Never mind.
Um,
Oh, we're
so-
going
okay,
there. I mean, technically, we're going
he's
to
let-
Waterworld with global warming.
so Rocket Man, I'm assuming it's a he. He is left coast. So West Coast.
Ah, there you go. The best coast. No, it's not because the water is freezing and the beaches are not as nice as the East Coast.
I'm sorry. The what's not as nice as the East Coast?
The beaches. It's my
I mean,
accent.
I think that's rather subjective myself, but you know, we teach their own.
The coast, the sun. How would you pronounce it? Damn it. The beach.
Oh, the beaches. Oh, the beaches.
beaches.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, okay,
sure. Let's blame it on my accent now. Oh God, that's so derogatory. Just to even
We're gonna
mention
get.
that.
We're gonna get the HR police are gonna come in here. So,
Yeah,
surfing.
FY22 plans. Sorry, you can't continue with your stream.
That's what everybody's just like, wait a minute, hello, you know. It's like our boss, he'll text you and he'll say, hey, you got a minute? I need to talk to you about something important. And you're like,
Yeah.
yeah, sure. And then he just goes dark for like an hour.
Yes.
And for an hour you're like, oh my God, what happened? Or
Looking at your phone, does it have a signal? Like going
Yeah.
around the house? Can
he's
you
like
call me to
sitting,
make sure that it's working?
he's sitting in a van in a parking lot somewhere so he can get Wi-Fi, you know.
I think he's got these
Or-
awesome vans, right? He's got this hippie vans that he goes everywhere.
Yeah.
Like loads the surfboards. I mean, our manager is the dude. You know, he's in LA, living the dream. We're here doing streams.
Yeah. Well, you know. He called the other day and he's like, look, I got something really important to talk to you about, but I'm going to go ahead and warn you. My phone might die. And then he didn't
He
call
did
back.
that to you? Oh, come
Yeah,
on.
I was like, damn, at least he's gonna like. I thought maybe he'd plug it in, but no, nothing. So I sat around for like 3 hours wondering, and then I pinged him and I said, "What was so important?" And he's like, "Oh, I forgot. It's no big deal." I was like, "Wait, I thought you said it was important."
Do I still have a job? Am I here? Like, is it my review? What happened?
Yeah,
Oh,
it was
man.
important in the moment apparently, but it was lost its
Yeah.
importance. It burned out quickly. So, so you've been busy this morning. Well, that's good.
Man, I mean, it's midday for me already because getting up with a spring and running into a podcast with like 2 seconds to compose yourself is always fun. I highly recommend if you have problem waking up in the morning, just book things very early, like with somebody in Europe, 6 a.m.
I need to book my 7-year-old on some podcasts so I can get him out of bed in the morning.
We can get him on the stream. We can do an early kid stream. Oh, there you go.
He'll
Kids
talk to
version.
us. He has 2 things he's really interested in right now: Minecraft and gym, like gyms, like rock mining.
Oh.
So
You were going to say gym. I'm like, okay, that seems to be young to do snatches, but
no, like a gem, like GEM. See, my wife's from Michigan. She always makes fun of the way I say pin because she says Southerners say pin, the writing instrument, and pin, like the thing that you stick.
pen. Yeah.
You say them the same.
Well, you do.
And I was like, well, you came here. You don't have to stay. Nobody's keeping you here. You go back up to Michigan where they say words like water, and everybody talks like they've got things stuck in their nose. Anyway, so this morning, earlier before the show, we were talking, and I told you I wanted you to help me build something, right?
Yes. And you left me.
what-
You're taking a leaf out of our mouths. You're like, hey, I've got something very important to tell you. We should build. Silence.
It's
I'll tell you on the show.
Stockholm syndrome. I was like, oh yeah, we should totally do this. And then,
Okay.
okay, here's what I'm thinking, right?
Tell me.
Something that you can bolt onto the front and rear of a car, like an apron, like a side skirt, or like a front, like a dam, like a front air dam.
Okay.
But it's an electromagnet. Because I spent the morning again here getting tires fixed.
Oh, did you get oh man.
This is like I've bought more tires in the 3 years we've lived here than I have my entire life.
Somebody
We've
sabotaged.
probably bought 4 or 5 sets of tires since we lived here. No, it's because there's so much construction that there are nails everywhere. And apparently I have giant magnets in my tires because they so I got to figure out a way to do it. And so I went to the place and they're like, yeah, we can do it. Well, it took an hour and a half because they were busy. And so I sat there for an hour and a half waiting
Just
for battery.
one tire, or do you have multiple tires?
Just the one. And this one was actually patchable because it was right in the middle of the tire. Because like apparently, most tires have like 3 grooves or 3 or 4 grooves, right?
Yeah.
If it's outside of the outer groove,
You have to replace the tire.
you have to replace the tire. It's called the shoulder. I didn't know that. And like every other tire we've had has been in the shoulder.
I would rather burn some tire rather than have to replace them for pins.
Yeah, I know. Like that's the thing. And then they're like, we can get one tire. So you buy one, and then you're like, okay, well, I've got one good tire, and now I've got 3 old
Medium
ones.
ones.
So you're like, well,
Yeah.
at least replace the back ones. And then you're like, well, I might as well just replace all 4 of them. So sick of it.
Are you sure
Luckily-
it's not like the tire companies that just randomly put nails all around the streets? It's like, oh, welcome. You know what? I had a similar
business.
one in Scotland. One morning we got up and the whole street, all the cars that were parked on the street had their tires slashed. Only one though, so it wasn't 2. It was 1. So you could still replace your tire and then go and get it fixed. It's like, that's very suspect. And then there was a tire place just 200 yards from the house. So it was literally around the corner.
Yeah.
It's like,
Oh, that is pretty suspect.
yeah. And these guys were busy that morning, Why drive somewhere else where you can get your tires replaced there? Hey, Lambjacker. Welcome to the stream.
Lambjacker.
Wouldn't the
Lumjack.
magnet screw with the board system? I mean, it would. Can you make the magnets
Probably.
outwards only? You can't. I mean, that would be crazy.
Well, it's like I see these people on YouTube, and they get these like neodymium or whatever magnets, and this guy's picking up nails from like a foot away. And the thing, I mean, it's not huge. It's
Yeah,
big.
small.
It's like that big around, but it's
Super
not like
magnets, right?
Imagine you put like 2 or 3 underneath the front lip, or actually,
Oh, sorry, we confused Lamjacker here. Lamjacker, this is a developer and identity and security channel. But this morning, JP is venting about the fact that his car is a magnet for nails, and he wants to build a solution that we can, maybe a hover car. How about that?
yeah, that's true. Well, yeah, there was at one point. Remember those tweels? They were called tweels, and they were. It was a Michelin made this wheel that was. It didn't have air in it, and it had these weird fins inside of it. So you could. So it never. Yeah. And Michelin's actually like Michelin's North American headquarters is about an hour from here in Greenville, South Carolina.
Do you not put run flats on your car?
I don't like the run flats because these are really low profile anyway. So I don't think the run flats would work.
We do talk about web development from time to time. We talk about all development.
Sometimes. Yeah, we do. We do. Yeah, we definitely talk about web development.
Yeah, we've done React. We haven't done Angular, by the way. Interesting. We haven't done Angular, my friend.
Yeah, I think that's probably a function of you and I, or at least me, not liking Angular at all. Oh, and look, the spammers have arrived.
Yeah, it means that we're doing a good job. Do we have 2 of them?
Go on, UO Heather. Yeah, there were 2 of them. Yeah.
Go you.
Hey,
we don't want any followers. We want real followers.
I don't want to buy followers from InBinBall0163.
Well, you're missing out. Just put some kind of broom or whiskers in front of the wheels. I mean, yeah. Or get your kids to run in front of the car and clean the street while you're driving.
I wonder let's say a company paid a construction worker to accidentally leave like a box of nails on the thing, right?
Yeah.
Would that be they could be considered an influencer at that point? Because they're definitely influencing tire purchases.
Yes. A
physical influencer.
Yeah.
A physical influencer. This is our startup idea. So you guys can go ahead and we'll call our VC friends and get funded. So what we're going to do is we're going to bring
viral people.
We're going to bridge the gap between digital and physical infrastructure or physical influencers. So, yeah.
Yes. Innovation. You see it here, people. Not just here first time. Should we do some news? Should we do some news before we jump on our other stuff?
Yeah. What kind of news do you have? I only have one piece of news today.
Well, so okay. Let me do which one's the news? Yeah. There you go. You can tell we're professionals. Come on, we got the assets there to prove it. I've got a few news. I've got 3 news.
Okay.
And then you can take over. So the first one is which excited.
This was the only news I had, so perfect.
Well, in that case, you can take it. You talk about it, and I'll talk about the other 2. Go on.
Oh well, so this is like big. We get to ask this all the time. We have Azure AD authentication for Azure SQL, which is great because it means no more SA passwords and all that silliness that you have to deal with in your code. The problem is, or the problem was, I should say, is even though you could use Azure AD to access SQL, you could not disable SQL authentication. And now you can. So it's in preview right now. You can go try it. You can go give it a shot. But you can disable SQL authentication in total and stick to strictly Azure AD auth. And then there's a blog post. We'll get a link out to it. The blog post pretty much gives you the limitations of what it is. So things like it's a server level and you can't do it at an individual database. And it's still in preview, so you probably don't want to do this on production databases just yet. But definitely something worth giving a try if that's something you're interested in, because I know that's been a common ask. So
I mean that has me really excited. Cosmos DB supporting Azure AD and this one, and we're awesome, right? So no admin passwords required in ARM deployment. You know what, Bolt? That rendered my secretless demos useless because I used to deploy SQL with a password and I would say, well, don't do that in your ARM templates. You can use Key Vault. But now I have to find a different example to do that, which is annoying. Anyway, moving on with the news. I need to find a different demo. Right, okay. Big news. If you like meat and if you're a meat eater or a carnivore, then you probably have heard about the fact that the 3rd largest meat production company in the world got owned by hackers last week. And they had to pay ransom It was a double whammy because not only did they break into the system, but they also encrypted sensitive data, and they blackmailed that they would release that sensitive information have they not paid the ransom. So this is now becoming the double extortion model is becoming the standard. So hackers not only will penetrate your system, but will also steal data and will either blackmail you to not delete them or blackmail you to not release them. So it's becoming an issue and a lot of money being spent there. The title that should have been gotten
I'm 10 million is an interesting. What was it? 11 million or 10
11
million?
million. Yeah,
It's an interesting number because it's sort of like, I think we even talked about this before. I watched that Captain Phillips movie a few months ago, like with the pirates and the Somalians, like in the seas off Somalia.
Tom Hanks.
And it's sort of like if 2 people or 5 people or 10 people go in and they do this sort of ransomware and they get $11 million. Well, $11 million over 3 or 4 people, like that's a lot of money and totally worth it. And $11 million to one of the largest beef suppliers in the country. Mm-hmm. I mean, maybe it's not that much. These are the numbers that these groups are picking because it's sort of like I can make it pay $11 million and this goes away. Mm-hmm. It's like, well, this is a no-brainer. It's going to cost 10 times that in remediation. Of course, there's a hospital in the UK that paid the ransom and then got hacked again 2 weeks later because they didn't fix it by the same people. It's just like, what are you doing? If you pay the ransom, you gotta
fix it before you pay the ransom, so you don't get owned again. Man.
Yeah, and it was by the same group. So
yeah, I'm not surprised. Yeah. So anyway, that made the news. That was interesting, but I was surprised that there's one company in Brazil that deals with the 1/3 of meat production in the world. This was crazy.
Wow. Yeah,
pay them, please. I need my steak. I'll pay them if I have to. The next one is an update to the .NET framework. So if you haven't done that, please go and update. There's an ASP.NET denial of service vulnerability, but there are also some other improvements. So you can go and read all about it in the blog. And the last one I have is support for .NET 6 preview on Azure Web Apps and Azure Functions. So now you can deploy .NET 6 stuff onto Azure and have a play and see how you can benefit from better speed, better improvement, better services, and what have you. So that was announced yesterday.
Thanks for the heads up, Gruff. It looks like EA got hacked yesterday too.
Ooh, what's the username?
We stole some game source code. You know what they ought to do? They ought to give it back. They ought to sell it back to EA, but in microtransactions instead.
Dropping crates.
Yeah, just drop crates with their source code back. But you have to pay for them. You could you could play the game and get it over time, right?
Yeah. Slowly. So, we'll give you the next level once you.
We'll give it back, we'll give it back to you slowly. So
you know what? If the hackers do that, I will. So no, I'm not going to say support them. But with EA having really bad practice, I mean, it's not bad for grown-ups, but for kids and hooking them into the microtransactions and paying a fortune to get to play the game, it's not a great practice. So yeah.
Well, I think the thing too is like as all these games move online, where they essentially don't work without a server connection. You don't need to own the game. You need to own the server, and then do whatever you want. Maybe they can remove microtransactions while they're in there. I don't know, but
there was a funny TikTok video the other day where I think it's like Call of Duty. Somebody was complaining, why are your updates 50 gigabytes? Like I have to remove all the other games so I can play your game. And I was like, well, it works, right? You can't play any other game because you have to have disk space for Call of Duty. So,
do I have 8 hours to download this game or do I just play it because it's here?
Exactly. So, I know. Online gaming is weird. I used to play a lot multiplayer stuff. I had what's it called? Not a gang. What was it called? A team.
A clan?
A clan, yes, we're the clan, exactly.
Yeah. Like in Call of Duty?
Never Call of Duty. We're always on Battlefield.
Oh, okay.
Which was slightly more, less ownage there, right?
Yeah.
But it was fun for a while. Then we had kids, and then it all went out
Yeah.
of the window. Yeah.
There's a group of guys I played with at a job I worked at. I mean, this has probably been
Okay.
10 years, but
Uh-huh.
it was, we played Call of Duty Black Ops, I think.
Okay.
I didn't have kids yet. And it was a ton of fun because you're there with like 6 or 7 people,
3 a.m. in the morning.
Yeah.
One
But
more game, and then we're going to bed.
Yeah.
And then it's like, damn, it's morning.
and you see everybody at 5 hours later. You're like, oh man, I'm so tired. But,
LAN
that was
parties
a-
in the office.
yeah, that was fun. That was a lot of fun. But yeah, once I had kids, that pretty much went out the window.
Well, you know what I'm doing now? xCloud, my friend. Load on the browser, no installs, no nothing. Just do real time. If I want to play something quickly, I don't even have to boot up my Xbox
Nice.
anymore. I play it on the browser, play a little bit, and then it goes away. No updates, nothing. It's just real time. It's there. It's awesome.
Nice.
haven't
That's
tried it.
awesome.
Yeah.
Well, so there's like you can do it from your like for games that aren't on xCloud yet, you can do it
Yeah.
from your thing, right?
From the phone.
From
What do you
the
mean? Oh, you
like
mean
you can stream from your console, right?
Yes, you can.
Because like F1 2020, I don't think is in Game Pass, so I had to. So it's only on my Xbox, and I can't play it on xCloud. It's the only
That's
game I
funny.
like to play though.
They've added a lot more
But-
games there. Do you have a steering wheel? And
I do, but it
pedals?
doesn't work with the Xbox. I've got the Gran Turismo and the Logitech GT something that works with the. It works with a
What do you mean
computer, and it works
doesn't
with
work
only with PlayStation 3. Doesn't work on Xbox.
What is that?
They made a bunch of, like the wheels are all super specific to like the. I think it's changed now,
Okay.
and I mean you could buy. I think you can buy like the super duper expensive Fanatec wheels that are like thousands of dollars. But I mean, come on. Now the one it's a Logitech. I don't know what, and I can only use it on PlayStation 3 and computer.
Mm-hmm.
And I
Only
went.
for
I,
specific
like,
games.
well, I mean, it worked on most games, but I think
Okay.
like there's a box you can buy. It's a third party box, and it adapts it to work with whatever.
Okay.
But like every website that has them is super sketchy, and you're kind of like, I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm convinced that this is actually going to work if every
It's
website
a giant
that's
box
selling
with
it
an
is.
inverted cable inside, and you pay for this box. It's empty. You just shake it. It's like, what is in here?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's magic, is what it is. So
Magic. Exactly. It could be magic.
yeah,
Magic in the air.
so
Right.
I don't know, but yeah, I tried like the iRacing thing, like the simulation stuff online, and those people are way too serious for me.
Oh yeah, they're like pros. You know, they have
Yeah,
competitions
I'm like,
and stuff now.
I mean, I remember growing up playing like Gran Turismo and stuff, and absolutely loving it, but I'm not any good at it either.
No.
I just like to play it.
Graham TNT says, "Oh, the internet box." Yeah.
Yeah, it's a box of magic. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. So
I would
So, hey,
today.
while we're getting it, so join our Discord if you're
Yes.
if you're so inclined. And I mentioned Discord because we had some questions out there earlier today,
Oh, nice.
and I
Bring
thought
them
it might be good to mention it. So, in fact, it's Rocketman 2112. Rocketman mentions that he's got an 18-year-old app, which is pretty cool that it's that old and still useful, still being used, and is working on making
An
some
adult.
changes to it.
An adult by now.
That's right. It's an adult
It's an
app,
adult up.
which means that
Off to
we
college.
essentially-
Little app.
we essentially just make a bunch of infant apps here and then
Yeah.
neglect them.
Yep.
So I guess as an app parent, I would be much worse than as a real parent. So the question was around certificate authentication. And it's a WPF app that's calling, among other things, it's a WPF app that's calling a service.
Okay.
And there's a question about whether or not to use certificates. And there's a little bit more information now, which is good. So I think, so on the first blush is if I've got a service over here that's of whatever type. I think his is now gRPC. There's like a gRPC shim in front of it. But if I've got a service and I've got a bunch of desktops that need to talk to it, the first question is, can I log in as a user? Because if I can log in as a user, I don't have to ship any kind of secret, right?
Correct.
Public client. So public client, don't have to ship a secret, and the user signs in, and by virtue of the user signing in, then, everything sort of bootstraps downstream from that. So you get an access token, you call the service, and away we go.
Yeah.
However, the question was, if I was to use certificates, because we can enroll certificates in group policy, and that's an interesting adaptation, I suppose, because if you still wanted to do specific users based on a certificate credential, you could bypass Azure AD entirely, or use something like Windows Hello for Business or similar, and have those certificates be linked to user objects, right? But that's going to require a lot more infrastructure, Azure AD join and all that sort of stuff.
Yep.
But in the future, that would be possible. The alternative is, if you just issue certificates, you need to know who the user is. You'd essentially have to have some user identifying information in like the common name of the cert or the subject name of the cert, and bypass Azure AD. And then your code would need to validate that certificate in terms of, do you have a trust, was it signed by your whatever CA you're going to trust? And then essentially whatever data is in there is what you'd store in your database to know who they are. So subject ID, object ID, whatever. And that would be completely independent of Azure AD.
Yes.
And I guess the third option would be to use a device certificate.
Fido?
And no, just like a straight up like a certificate issued to the machine.
Oh.
And use that for like essentially transport level credential, and then send an actual credential in the payload. So like the user could just have like a username box or something they type in, or username password box, whatever. And then send it as payload data. So the tunnel itself is secured by a certificate, and it could be a trusted known certificate, but the specific user themselves is payload data that gets dumped in. So,
but he says his goal is to only let his software talk to the service, as in the app talking to the service. And I suspect that wouldn't work with a computer-wide certificate.
Yeah, that's true. With a machine certificate, then it would be anything on the machine could use that cert.
Yep.
If it's tied, so if it's tied to the user, if someone hijacked their account, they could get into my service. And that's true. But depending on, and I don't know if this is like software you're going to sell to people, or, software that's going to people that you control, like you control their machines or whatever. But things like, MFA really help a lot in keeping user accounts from being compromised. I mean, I could put my password up here and all of you could go try to sign in all day long and it wouldn't matter. Because you can't get in without some kind of second factor. So this is at a customer site, I see. So if it's at a customer site, so this software, is it deployed at the customer, the services too, or are your services still hosted somewhere else?
I think the service probably is hosted on his own end, but he wants AD to issue a token?
Yeah,
all on-prem.
All on-prem. Okay. So,
that's a good question.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, if I'm on a Windows machine that's domain joined and I've got 80 credentials I signed in with, and I'm using Kerberos or whatever to authenticate that user to call your service, using MSAL for external. anything that can be me can call that service.
It's true.
Yes, Sahil, we're working on some VC stuff. We'll have some more soon, but yeah, I agree. The current samples are a bit they're a bit involved. they take a little bit of work, but yeah, we're planning on one fairly soon, a little bit later on this summer. So we'll have some more info on it pretty soon.
It's not Matthias that is working on verified credentials?
Yeah, he was. I don't know if he still is, or I don't know if he's. I don't know. So
maybe we can.
We'll ask him, see if he wants to come on and hang out.
Yeah. Or we can get Sahil to send an email, and we can involve Matthias to get him some help if he needs help.
Yeah, that's true. Sahil, if you've got like some specific feedback about what's going on with those samples, send us a note, 45show@microsoft.com, and we'll make sure it gets in front of the people that own that sample.
Yes.
Or of course, you can leave an issue in the repo. Those get a lot of attention too. So yes, I don't know, Rocket Man. I mean, I think user authentication is probably the best bet.
Agreed.
To authenticate them authenticate them to Azure AD via their thing. Via their user account, because then, of course, if your customer doesn't have Azure AD, we have to look into like multi-tenancy and how that gets sorted out. Because if you don't have 100% overlap between your customer base and Azure AD, they're going to need an Azure AD account to talk to that service.
Indeed.
So to sign in and get a token. So they have Azure AD Connect. So your customer is an Azure AD customer.
Which is great.
Yeah. So what we could do with that is Azure AD multi-tenancy, where your application, your service is multi-tenant, your client is multi-tenant, your customer's administrator installs into their directory, which is essentially they consent to it, right? Mm-hmm. And then when they sign in through Azure AD, they get a token, and then they use that token to call your service. They are new to Azure and nervous. Yep, I completely agree. It's if they haven't set up their Azure AD yet, like if they've got Connect but they haven't installed it or configured it yet, that's probably a good place to start before they even talk about what you're going to do.
Yeah.
So.
Great question.
Yeah. So I think, and we can dig into multi-tenancy, especially with desktop apps. We can certainly peel a show off and do kind of a deep dive on that, because multi-tenancy is simultaneously the coolest part about Azure AD and probably one of the hardest things hardest things to wrap your head around. So he says they have it set up and they are testing. So that's good. So if they're set up and they're testing, that's a good place to start. And for you, maybe not necessarily immediately, but like sometime in the near future, maybe set up a lab. You can get a dev tenant. We've got a dev. You can go get a dev directory free or whatever, or set up 2 of them. And you can see what that multi-tenant experience looks like, where your external users' admins will then have control. So your customers' administrators would be the ones that say, this user can sign into this app, or this user can, or these groups, or all the configuration that goes along with that. I have too many accounts. I know that feeling. But it's also a good way to say, hey, maybe they're not ready for MFA as a broad rollout, but maybe they just want to enforce MFA on your service, right? And so conditional access means they'd say, well, we don't want to require MFA for anybody yet because we still haven't, we're still not ready, or we still haven't planned that rollout. But for this app, we want to enforce it. And your app may even be the best one to start, to do a test enforcement with, because people are going to have to register their phones and scan the little QRs and do all that sort of stuff. So yeah, and if you want, you can feel free to send us an email. We can talk about, dig into like a better plan and discuss specifics and to see if we can help out or see if we've got a partner that might want to help out or whatever. So yeah, feel free to drop us a note. We'll dig in as much as we can.
Bring on the QR codes. Yeah.
Oh, QR codes. That's the thing. It's funny. Like, so the verifiable credential stuff, they're doing a contest here at work with VCs. So we're using VCs to verifiable credentials to sign into like a contest. So you sign in and you scan the thing to get the credential, and then you go to the same site and then you scan it again to say, and they request the credential, right? So it's like, I'm going to give you this credential, and then I'm going to ask for you to present it back to me, and that's how you log into a sweepstakes or whatever. So. Yeah. No, Godek, you don't need the Discord. We use it kind of outside of the show for people who have questions or concerns or code they want us to take a look at or whatever. And no, you certainly don't have to use Discord. It's just a place to get help if you need it or talk with other people when we're not here. So certainly not a requirement. Did you have any other news, Christos? Anything else happen interesting this week? I feel like there was something, but I can't remember what it was.
Anything interesting? No.
I gotta
decided to take some time off. Now that's good news, isn't it? When are you
What do
off
you mean?
again? You're taking time off, aren't you? When are you off?
End of the month. End of June.
End of June.
Yeah.
I might decide to take some time off at the same time.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's that time of year. I mean, I've been stuck in my basement for 15 months, so I'll do whatever it takes to get out of here.
Unfortunately, we don't have a nice place to go because we're still stuck here and we can't fly. But we'll see. We'll see what we do. Need to take some time off, absolutely. We want deep understanding of how end-to-end things work. Everybody does. Sahil, you're not alone in this one.
Yeah, I mean, I think the big thing for VCs and enterprise will be it's not so much like in large enterprise, it could be, you could use it as a mechanism for, say, ensuring that somebody's done training correctly or ensuring that somebody has, done something corporate wide and they want to prove that to somebody else. I mean, it's all about decentralized proof, right?
Yep.
You essentially become your own OpenID issuer. You're the person, like your phone becomes an OpenID issuer. I think in enterprise, the bigger use case or the more interesting use cases are going to be when we're closer to critical mass, because I can issue credentials all day long, but if nobody trusts those credentials and nobody can do anything with them, like nobody trusts the proof that I am generating, then what's the point? So if you think long term, you think, well, let's say that Christos and I worked on shipping product ABC, and we're going to go off later on and work. We're going to go work a job in a different place. Mm-hmm. And they say, well, so what did you do? Like, you look at your interview. What did you do to this last job? Like, oh, well, here's a bunch of stuff that shows. The work that I did at my other place. And instead of me having to divulge corporate secrets or whatever to this other company to talking about what I had worked on, instead, they can verify the company said, yeah, you worked on this, or you achieved this certain level, or this certain, you had this specific role for this specific period of time. Like, you think about all the things that would be nice to prove org to org between various companies, organizations, whatever. And it just gets a little bit more interesting. I mean, you think about, say my local government, they've got a deed that's recorded that says this is my house. But what if I also had a credential that said, hey, this is his house. Here's the deed data. Here's the data about the deed that this person bought it on this day with these things and those things. And I think being able to cryptographically prove stuff without having to have a central owner of what that data is and a central point of trust, that's the cool thing. Now, quantum computing could come in and blow all this away, and then none of it matters. But at least until then, well, right, like Rocket Man says, the copy of the deed that's recorded is the only thing that matters. Like the official record has to be there. And like my mom's a paralegal, so she goes when she's doing like title work and title searches when somebody's buying a piece of property, like. She will go and sit at this. I remember going with her as a kid. It's like a microfiche machine. Is that what it's called?
Yeah, the ones that have the.
Yeah, and you get a reel, and it's like a reel of all the registers from or all the
year to another
recorded. Yeah, from January 1970 to March of 1970, and she's sitting there and like wheeling through this thing trying to find it, and some of that's a centralized digital database problem, but being able to trace that all the way back, like being able to trace ownership of a piece of property or ownership of something, or that you were in a certain place or whatever, that's a cool thing. I mean, we've been talking here about having some cool ways to issue credentials ourselves. So say, you took a certain training, you went to Learn TV. Or learn the Microsoft Learn platform, and you learn some stuff. Well, here are verifiable credentials that people can cryptographically verify are true, that you took this training, or that you got this certification, or that you did this or you did that. Because right now we have to trust the fact that Pearson says that you came and suffered through a test in a tiny phone booth somewhere in a nondescript corner of town.
Amazing days.
So, yeah. I don't know. There's all sorts of interesting uses for it, but I think the network effect will be the most important thing for it turning into something meaningful. And Godek asks, couldn't you use NFTs for this? And I don't know. Maybe. I think I don't know enough about NFTs to say whether or not you could. I know that what we do is, with the whole premise of DID, is that the certificate, essentially the public keys get written out to a public blockchain. I don't know which one it is now because it seems like it changes all the time, but yeah. Chicken Man's having flashbacks to his last cert exam. Me too. I'll just put a sheet over my entire body and take my laptop underneath it and say, please, please, please. It's okay. No. That wasn't a noise that you heard. I promise. Please don't make me take this test again.
It's annoying.
So, it's pretty awful. So, anyway, let's see. So Monday we've got Learn Live again. So Monday evening.
Yes. Module 2.
Monday evening, Module 2, application types, single page apps, all that sort of stuff. We'll dig into those Monday at 5 p.m. Eastern time, which is 2 p.m. Pacific, which is 8 p.m. UK, I think? No. 9 p.m. UK? I don't know. Late in the evening, nighttime in Europe. I'll say that much. But
Retro 9595. How do I pronounce that? Because I remember Trooper said it's pronounced Trooper, but I have no idea how to pronounce this. Hey, welcome to the stream, man. How are you? Yeah, Monday. No. Monday, whose feed?
It'll be on Learn TV. And it'll also be on
/Learn TV.
Yep, and also be on Microsoft Developer. And we're trying to figure out a way to co-stream it here. So if you're already here, you can just watch it here. We just haven't figured it out yet. So
yeah, I'm just dumping the. Where's the Learn TV? Is Learn TV a different URL?
But it's all like the Microsoft Learn modules, which if you haven't used them, they are some of them are pretty good.
Paste it.
Retro. And they have this sort of concept of like a path, where here are like 5 or 6 classes or modules or whatever you want to call them, and as you go through them, at the end of it, you sort of get like I don't want to call it like a cert. It's like a badge. And I think you'll see in the coming year, I think you'll see a whole lot more of the learning stuff that we do at Microsoft happening out there. So
yeah, and we'll walk you through the treacherous waters of identity. So you get X points. Yeah, you get the experience points too. So you can get certified in the end. That's
right. You get internet points.
the most important points, right?
So one other thing, we probably won't. I don't think we'll get to it today because I guess this feels like a CL Dubois have a sit down and have a drink kind of a show.
Wait, you were doing something with NuGet. Are you gonna talk to us about NuGet? Did you
Well,
manage to get it?
no, but I can talk
No.
about it.
Tell us. Tell us what you were doing yesterday.
See,
Spinning
Bolt
out
says he
accounts
can't.
all over the place.
Bolt says he can't wait to tell his future employer that he's level 5 on Microsoft Learn XP. That's true. I mean, verifiable credential issued. Boom, level 5.
Yeah, you're level 5. Oh, got all these new friends. Chilaxathor and Exegate.
Yeah.
Welcome, friends. We're chilling today. We're having fun.
We kind of laugh about Microsoft XP, but
Uh-huh.
I had the unfortunate fortune to have to go out to LinkedIn the other day,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like
I know your love-hate relationship with LinkedIn. In fact, just hate.
and it's like as I'm scrolling, it's just nothing but these badges that say certified expert or certified
Yes.
this, or certified that. You know,
We need to add some.
so that's the thing. Somebody thinks they're valuable because they post them,
Mm-hmm.
right? So
I'll tell you what. You and me are too old for this stuff, but I think that the younglings do value XP and badges. So we'll be creating an identity badge for you, friends. How about that?
Yeah.
Or a 45 show badge.
Yeah.
We're even discussing about having an award ceremony at some point. We might do it. Certified certifier of certificates. Yes.
Yes.
Certified issuer of certificates. That will be my title. Yeah. Speaking of
A certified certificate certifier or certified certifier of certificates. That's awesome. That's
I
awesome.
will allow. I will
Love it.
Thanks for allowing that. Allow. Yeah, it is good. People are liking my T-shirt. Yeah, it's awesome, isn't it?
That's an awesome shirt. I love it.
Yeah, I've got more cool T-shirts. Join us next time. You'll see more. I've got all the HTTP codes. Every day will be a different HTTP code, and eventually
I don't have
we'll
any,
a 45 one. You don't have one?
I don't have any T-shirts because they're not very good for my girlish figure. I guess they're not very flattering. So, a certified certifier of certified certificates. That's a good one.
Yes.
Exegate.
I
Exeget.
will put it on my CV. Goes on my CV.
What does that mean, Janiscu? Lots of machines. What are you talking about? Wow, Godek is level. So Godek is level 12. Is that in Learn? Is that Microsoft Learn XP?
Damn.
What?
Send us the link, dude.
That's crazy. Send us a link to that. That's awesome.
Wow.
And
38,000.
Rocket Man's level 5.
Uh-huh.
4,300 XP. Wow.
Yes, Microsoft Learn.
Wow. What kind of courses were you taking on Learn? Were there any that were like particularly good? Oh. So
Me or JP? Just point.
that laptop. So there's this one, which is an old, super old ThinkPad Carbon. That is my Surface laptop, which is my primary laptop, and that is my boss's laptop because he left, and they said, "Can you go clean out his office?" And I was like, "I guess," and so it came home with me. So,
How many machines do you have right now in the house? Let's do that.
far too many, way too many. But it's, I don't know. If I go look at like the Unify dashboard, it just makes me sad. It's just like, oh my god, this is pathetic. Like, what's wrong with this guy?
You need an ultra wide monitor just to be able to enumerate all the devices. Azure fundamentals and Azure data fundamentals. Nice, that's very good.
Oh, cool. Is that is that like towards AZ900 or whatever it was? I forgot which one it is. AZ900 was certs.
Now you and me do a lot of courses, right? I wonder if we get the points every time we do the course.
Well, that's a good question. I don't know.
We had to walk through people, right? Remember the first time that we're doing it for Reactor? We actually got all the points because we had to do the course to go through all the steps. We got some XP. AZ900. Yeah, these are pretty good. The entry ones, they're great.
Yeah. Well, I think too. I heard that there are going to be some changes. Like I got an email the other day that
Mm-hmm.
the more modern certifications, not like the older, like the MCSEs and MCSAs, MCPDs, all those, but the more modern ones, like the Azure Fundamentals and Azure Solution Architect, those are going to be switching to more of like a continuing ed model.
Nice.
So instead of it being like you go sit for the exam and then like 3 years later you go sit for another one, it's like once you get it every year, you have to do so many like learn things or so many courses or whatever to renew it. But I think that would be way better than sitting for those exams again.
I agree. And you know why? Because the way that they were producing them in the past, they would become obsolete by the time they finished writing the certification. So there were cases where you would go and sit for the exam, and you're like, but this doesn't work anymore, and you had to use that kind of solution because you knew that this is what was expected by the test. Whereas now, if you have this continuous kind of renewal or continuously assessing people, it makes more sense. Things are moving way too fast in the cloud to have static certifications. Which takes me to the next question. Do people actually value certifications? Do you guys go for certifications? Do you believe they're important to you? Let us know in the chat, because this is something that we're looking as well as part of our FY22 planning. Just to
I know partners value certifications a lot because they get extra perks the more people they have that are certified. I don't know. I think some companies are really into them. Other companies perhaps not as much, like they just don't have as much weight. But
so for those more senior in the chat, would you hire someone that has certifications, or would you still lean in experience and knowledge? Do they count when you look at somebody that just joined your team or somebody that you're looking to hire? Exegate is going to invest more. Nice.
I think Rocket Man's statement here is a lot of it. Is that now I haven't taken a certification exam in a couple of years, but
I agree.
I felt like it was testing my ability to take a test, not testing my knowledge. And some of it, like there was one part of it that was really cool because the Azure portal opened and it said, go do this thing, like go achieve this task. And so I went and did that. And I was like, that's pretty cool because there are lots of different ways to achieve the same result. So that was good. But I felt like it was a kid. I was a kid again, and you have to learn how to take a test instead of learning the actual material to be successful on the test, or the actual material to be successful in industry.
To some extent, from my perspective, it was great to provide some kind of structured learning. Like if you're going to sit down the data certification, right? It points you to where your resources are and what you need to do. So in effect, it provides you with guided training. I'm not so sure about the testing format, but at least it forces you to sit down and learn certain things that you wouldn't otherwise. So I think that is good. Like in my team in the past, and probably you, JP, do you not have OKRs in the team to make sure that you set like 2 certifications per every year? Do you have that in your previous role as a CSA?
Yeah, that's the only reason I did them was because I had to do them. They said, look.
Yeah, you had to do them. So, and we had them as BFEs.
Yeah, like when I started, there were 2 of them I had to get done. And then my 3rd year, I think I had to get 2 more. And then I haven't done them since. But I don't know. I think the concept of certification is a good one. Mm-hmm. But I think the way they are now, they're, as Rocket Man says, they're easy to game. They're good for structured learning, like you said. But if somebody just comes to you and says, I have certificate X, you don't know, because there's some people, or there's one guy specifically I used to work with who had like dozens of certificates, but it was like, it wasn't like useful knowledge. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the practical side of sitting down and doing X didn't really click. You know what I mean? But yeah, like going through the course and knowing what's going to be on the course. But and then we had a question too from Retro. Says self-taught programmer
still in school for electronics,
Yeah.
but loves programming. If there's anything we would suggest. But you went for CS, right, Christos?
I did a CS.
Twice?
No. What kind of comment is that? Like, why would I take
No,
it twice? I did
no,
a
I thought you had a
CS.
master's.
I have a software engineering degree, and then I went and did a master's in networking, all Cisco
Oh, okay.
routing,
No.
switches, and stuff. Not
That's
twice,
what I meant by
yes.
twice. Like you have a I thought you had a master's in CS. Like you went for undergrad and for your
You know,
master's.
I looked at masters for software. So I looked for a masters for software engineering. It was like duplication of all the stuff that you did in the past with just more depth. Like, why would you do that? Doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, but I would have to say that university does not prepare you for real life. I had a placement interview, almost like an internship on second year, and I went through proper interview questions like, go and build something or show us how you would whiteboard. And I felt totally useless. I walked out of that. I was like, man, I've spent 2 years in university and I know nothing. I'm totally not prepared. I had to go back and reevaluate my approach, but I was told that stick with it and it will happen. Who knows? You might as well work for a big company one day, and it happened. But I think CS degree is again a structured way for you to learn. There are other more important or more valuable ways to get enterprise or real world experience, and university unfortunately is slow to adapt, like certifications. They create the program so long ago, and they iterate a little bit, but they don't do radical changes. They don't teach security. They don't teach logging. They don't teach performance. They don't teach real world building cloud apps. So I went to university in 2001. There was no cloud, so maybe I'm overjudging. But I definitely did things like interpreters and data structures, which was great. But then again, you never use them once you leave university. In fact, I haven't used a linked list since I left university. I'll tell you that. Have you used the linked list, JP, for anything?
No.
See?
But
But
now,
no.
I didn't go to school for CS.
You didn't go to school. That's a good point. You didn't do linked lists in music education.
That's right. So I've thought a lot about going back to do CS to fill in gaps. Because when I started on a help desk, and then I switched to SQL because they needed SQL people, and then I switched to dev because they needed developers. And so it's mostly been learning by fire. I'll say that I don't think the best person to put on your online banking app is a 19-year-old who's never written code before, but that's what they did. So God only knows if it. I have no idea if it was ever any work, but I think for me, as I've gotten older, I spent a lot of time like writing code and just building stuff just to learn how to build it, or like replicating stuff I saw and trying to make it what I wanted.
Yeah.
And doing. I had a few really interesting side projects and had some good projects that I got to work on. I think a lot of it was timing and good luck to be in the right place at the right place. But I think I did read something called The Imposter's Handbook by Rob Connery, which was great because it helped somebody like me who doesn't have a formal CS education to fill in more, and certainly not all, but fill in more of the sort of theoretical gaps and to give a name to things that you sort of like feel like you intrinsically know, but you don't know how to describe them, or you don't really know the full picture around them.
Yep.
So that was really helpful, but I think as I've gotten older, I've certainly felt like I would be more productive knowing more of those concepts, and so that's why I've spent more time there in the past few years. So, but I think you can also get a programming job nearly anywhere right now, and it doesn't require the sort of systems knowledge. But I do think that having the underlying theory helps a lot.
It does. I mean, I'm not discounting degrees, right? I think a degree gives you a lot of the fundamentals you won't find in a job, because when you get in a job, you'll be thrown into the lion's den and we're like, hey, go and implement this in HTML and CSS. There's no time for you to go back and do fundamentals unless you invest time on your own. So 3 years in university, learning the fundamentals and letting them seep in before you jump into writing whatever language and implementing whatever solution, it's actually good. And even knowing about data structure is a good thing. You might not use them, all of them, or you might not use a linked list, but at least it helps you think, if I'm trying to build something, what is the best way to store things? What is the most efficient way to store things? And even knowing like algorithm complexity and all that jazz, it helps. But don't expect
Yeah.
university to teach you really practical things like testing. We did 3 years of coding without a single unit test. Like that was insane. But it was what it was back in 2001.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think like I've worked with people who've been far more sort of CS educated than me, and that's helped. So a lot of that again is just sort of good fortune, right? You end up working with the right people. And I had a guy, I remember we shared an office, and every morning he would come in and he would write a concept on the board. And he would say, you need to go read about this. And it was, sometimes they were more practical things like unit testing, although this wasn't 1991. And other times they were more theoretical things like, big O notation, things like that. And so that helped, I think, having other folks around you that you can learn, that you can learn from. And
mentoring is important. Find some good mentors out there, work with them. Open source is great for that.
yeah. And I think like Retro says, coding interviews are broken. Judge more on fundamentals than problem solving. And I think for me, solving the problem is the fun part, right? Writing the code is just a means to an end, and solving the code is an expression of a solved problem. This problem solving itself is the most interesting part, and I think that's a very hard thing to learn, right? Yeah. Like my buddy's an attorney. He's not an attorney. Sorry. He went to school. He went to law school, was an attorney for a few years. He went to Russia. His firm sent him to Russia. He came back and they said, do that for 20 years and you'll make partner. And he laughed and said, I don't want to do this anymore. So he, as he calls it, he quit lawyering and he went to Microsoft and was he was a software engineer here for a long time. Then he became an EM. So he's an engineering manager here for a long time.
Yeah.
And then he came and managed me at a place I used to work. And he said that while he didn't enjoy being an attorney, he learned a lot about how to think and how to think logically in law school. So that was kind of an interesting thing. He said if we could make it cheap, then everybody should be able to go, because even if you don't become an attorney, learning how to process thoughts logically and how to think in certain sequences is really, really helpful. So I thought that was a neat thing.
Yeah, important skill for developers. Like you'll find that younger developers, you'll give them something that the first thing they will do is just starting to code, right? You tell them we have this problem, like they will let's look it up on Google and find a solution to something. But the more senior you become, you start questioning why and how, and why do we need this, and why do we not find something off the shelf, and is there something out there that can do it for us? So having this kind of experience and ability to think before you jump into problems is important. I used to do it myself as well. You will tell me we need to add some email service. Like, oh, okay. So my brain will start spinning. It's like, oh, an email service. We need some SMTP somewhere, and I can call it with .NET. I've done it before, and my brain was already thinking the solution. I wasn't thinking about the why do we need this, the architecture, how does this fit with everything else. Do we have an email service somewhere that can do that? So soft skills are very important as a developer, at least. I could say they help me more than my technical knowledge. And problem solving, like companies that will focus on problem solving rather than the implementation details, I think they hire better people for the job than people that can whiteboard something on the reverse bubble sort, reverse binary search, whatever shit, right? Because I can find that on the web. I don't need that. But being able to understand why you need to do it and how you would do it and how that fits with the wider solution is very important. Subtitles in Portuguese. Let's switch to Portuguese for our Portuguese friends. Sorry, my friend, we don't have that. But I think when you put it on YouTube, does it not provide you with subtitles in your own language?
I don't know. The auto subtitle stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah. We should probably figure out some sort of like subtitling service that we can plug into.
Yes, there is. I think in OBS you can get that. We're not using OBS for now. By the way, it will be on YouTube, my friend. So if you look at ak.ms45so/YouTube, then this video will be on YouTube, and hopefully there will be language translation through YouTube. But I'm Greek, so every time JP speaks, I have no idea what he's thinking about. It's all Greek to me.
I'm supposed to say that.
It's all Greek to me. You're supposed to say that. Yeah.
I don't know how to say anything in Greek. Although one of our coworkers, who's also Greek, said that if I was in Greece, he's like, look, if you were to go to Greece, he's like, your name is not going to be the reason why you don't fit in. He said, but I'll give you a Greek name anyway. So he said, I'll call you Yanis Dendopoulos.
Perfect.
So,
yeah.
I guess that's what I'm going to be stuck with. So
my Greek brother from another country and from another mother. There you
go. So Monday we'll have Learn Live at 5 p.m. Eastern.
Let me put the link again so people. Oh, you know what? There's a link to sign up, isn't it? Do we have it?
There is one. Let me see.
It's on the PowerPoint, isn't it? Let me grab the PowerPoint quickly.
It is in the PowerPoint.
Now. Patience. There's a Portuguese developer with good identity content on YouTube. Really?
Oh, cool. Yeah.
Pass it on.
If you've got a link, send it on. I would love to see that. It'd be awesome. So Monday we've got Learn Live. We're gonna get the link up for that. I don't know if we've got anybody coming on Tuesday. I know Brady's coming soon, isn't he? Isn't Brady coming back soon? Brady Gaster?
He wants to come and do worker stuff. Yes, .NET Worker.
All right. Okay, cool. So I think he's coming on the 22nd, which is 11 days from now, right? So that'll be next. That will be the Tuesday following. So I guess it's a week from this coming Tuesday, if I could figure out my words. Jesus, it took me a while.
Oh yeah, and you'll be away that week, right? You're off that week, if I remember correctly.
I'm gone the following week.
Oh, you're going the following week.
Yep,
So
the week of the 20th.
Be here.
Week of the 29th. So we'll all be here with Brady. In fact, Brady's a .NET guy, right?
He is our .NET guy, yes.
So I'm going to really quickly show you what I've been working on, and hopefully you and the people around us can help. Not today because it's already after 12 and we can go get lunch or whatever, but because I think today's been a cool day of just sort of hanging out and chatting. But I really need somebody to help me figure out just the best way to do this, because I've never done like library development in this way, like in .NET Core, and certainly not in the last like probably 5 or 6 years. So let me see, get my screen up here. Okay, I know it's really small. Let me zoom this in some. Okay, so you remember we had our secret manager, right?
Yeah.
So I started messing around with some stuff and thought, because we had some question. I had a question from somebody, from a friend, about Secret Manager. Well, see, here's the thing, Bolt. The best way to the right answer is to say the wrong answer on the internet.
Yeah.
Because then all the reply guys will come in and tell me how wrong I am.
You get mansplaining. You get, you're wrong. Why use X? Why can you use Y? Do it in Python. Do it in a different language. Do it in a different framework.
That's the best one.
Use NPM, for God's sake. Why are you using NuGet? Doesn't matter. Yeah. Just be wrong, and people will correct you. That's all you need.
Yeah. Those are the best ones where it's like, hey, I'm having this problem with .NET. Oh, why don't you just use Java with these 14 frameworks on it? You're like, wait, that wasn't my question.
The best solution ever. I'll rewrite everything from scratch just because you told me. So all Java from now on.
So I was working on the secret manager that we were working on a couple weeks ago, and we had a friend ask if we could integrate this into ThriveMan and all that, which got me thinking, like, it'd be cool if this was just sort of modular. And the other thing I was thinking too is with the secret manager stuff, while we're not talking about secret data directly, we are talking about secret metadata, and there may be some folks who are want to run it on-prem, they want to run it in a container somewhere, they want to run it on their own infrastructure, they want to run it somewhere else, whatever. So I got to thinking, well, why don't we take this functionality and move that into its own library, and then I'll just reference it from a variety of different hosts, right? And so the bulk of the secret logic is bundled up here in the secret manager. And this is all out on GitHub. We'll get a link out there. So the bulk of the logic, which is pretty minimal right now, is all here in this library. And then I just have the Azure function itself.
Right.
See, it's already starting.
Yeah, Bolt, you're right.
What do you mean you can't see anything, Bolt?
We can't see anything, by the way.
You can't see my screen?
Oh yeah, it's showing. What the hell is that? Mine? Oh, you know what?
No.
You're sharing my screen. Let me.
Oh, sorry. I am sharing your screen. My apologies. Everybody's like, "What the hell is this going? What is this?"
Well, it's a good thing I didn't have anything weird up there.
Yeah,
Good.
thing.
Oh,
Yeah. Okay.
I didn't even pay
Back up a
attention.
little bit.
I was looking at the comments. I didn't even pay attention. Oh, it's too small, the font. We can't see. Please make it bigger.
Yeah.
Thank you,
that's how
Tropical Geek.
that's how I should have known. That's how I should have known that.
Oh, dude, it's still on my page. What?
Oh, that's weird. I wonder why.
That's broken. Can I? You know what? I'm stopping sharing, so you can share now. Share yours.
Okay. Mine's shared.
Let's see.
Mine's shared.
Waiting. No. StreamYard is broken.
Okay. Well, let me stop
Restream is
sharing.
broken.
I will stop sharing my screen
Yeah.
and reshare it. How about that?
Do it.
Maybe.
I mean, right now I'm not even sharing, so it's whatever happens. It's just Restream being broken.
Maybe it's a sign I shouldn't be sharing my screen.
Yes, finally.
Is it up?
Share. Yeah, it's up.
Okay, good. Okay.
Thank you, friends.
All right. Yeah, thanks for letting us know. Okay, good.
You can see.
All right.
There's a lot of red. There's a lot of red over there.
That's how you know I've been working, because it's got a bunch of red. Okay, so anyway, I've got these this module here, which is the secret manager, and the secret manager itself just calls the graph and then persists some credentials and does some extra work, right? Last week, I'm using page iterator from the Graph SDK because we could have more than one page, that sort of thing. But this is relatively isolated and really could be run wherever.
I'm so proud of you. You're using the Graph SDK.
Well, I didn't want to write paging logic myself, so I was like, I'll use theirs. So we got this credential entity. It's got some stuff in there. Nothing too wild in here. We've got some batching, but that's really neither here nor there. I do have a store though, and the store is table storage. So table storage will store. I'm using table storage, but I thought, well, you might want to use something else, right? If you're like, I got to keep this on.
Look at you making it proper enterprisey, all interfaces and different hooks.
We should call this. What should we just call everything FizzBuzz from here on out? The FizzBuzz secret rotator, a FizzBuzz rotator. Ugh. Well, no, but the thought was because I was talking to a buddy of mine, and that's what they're saying as well. We need to do this, but we want to run it. We can't run it. We don't want to store the data in cloud.
Oh, they want to run it in on-prem, on SQL, something like that.
Yep. So it's like, well, okay, cool. Then write your own cred store and just persist them however you want and send it in, right?
Perfect.
So anyways, we got this. So we got the secret manager, but the thing I was looking at was multi-targeting in multi-targeting in .NET.
Okay.
And so what I had was, in fact, now I see this may be my problem, but so I had target frameworks, and I was targeting Net Standard 2.0 and Net Standard 2.1. So 2.0 gives us what, .NET Core 3.1 or .NET Core 2.1 and up.
Yes.
And Net Standard 2.1 gives us 5, essentially, right? And so there's some conditionals in here, for use 5, use 3, whatever, depending on which ones we're going to use, or depending on which target we're using. And the things like graph and the Cosmos tables, that's fine. So the problem I'm having, though, so I had a little test app, right?
Yeah.
There's an interface in here. There's our cred store, GoDeck. So I had a test app, just a console, like a generic host. That was fine, no sweat. But then I wanted to pull this into the Azure function,
right?
Okay.
And so the function, when I add this project reference, because I wanted to do a project reference and treat these as submodules, at least for the short term. Like, like we'll figure out the NuGet side to do it. But if I don't have to publish it to NuGet yet, that would actually be desirable. Like, I don't want to have to publish it. But my worry is that I'm worried that it isn't going to, because when I try to build, it seems as though when I build this project, it sees both the net 2 or the net standard 2 and the net standard 2.1 targets, and they conflict with each other. It's like it doesn't, like, it's like I can't say, well, I'm building with net standard 2, so because I'm building with net core app 3, so please use the net standard 2 target. And that's what I'm trying to figure out.
But do you not only need target just .NET 3, .NET 2, sorry, .NET Standard 2.0, and it will still be ingestible by 5 and 6?
It will be. However, I was using, there was a reason that I had to target both, and I don't remember what it was now. It was yesterday.
Is there some API that's only in 2.1 that is not in 2?
There was something that was there that I needed in 2.1 that was not in 2. Well, it wasn't. It was the search stuff. Some of the search stuff was different in 5, and that was why I wanted to have 2 targets.
I see. Okay.
And the guidance from .NET now is to have
multi-targeting.
To have multi-targeting.
I see.
To do net standard 2 if you need to support pre-5, and to do 2.1 for 5 and up.
So if your console can consume a submodule, or you're using a NuGet submodule, and it works.
Right now, I'm using a submodule with a project reference.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't work.
Oh, the console doesn't work either?
The console does work. However, the console is a .NET 5 console. So the console works correctly. The
function is a
3.1. Does not. The function's 3.1. Yep, net core app 3.1. And the errors I was getting were all related to seeing net standard 2 and net standard 2.1 in the folder list, in the target list, and having it. It's like, because the files were all there, it was like, well, I don't know which ones to use. They're conflicting with each other. Almost like the project reference wasn't smart enough to say, I am net core app 3.1, thus I need the net standard 2 target out of this project.
Yeah, it was going to.
So my next step. Yeah, so my next thought was, well, why don't we take, I would have to publish these as NuGet packages, do them pre-release or something, and reference them that way, which I didn't really want to do. But that's where all the messing around with NuGet came from yesterday. So, there's a link from Bolt. Chicken Man, I was better way to override references with package reference. Oh, interesting. All right, I'm gonna have to look. I'll have to read this. I'll have to read this this afternoon, and see what's going on. Chicken Man says, I thought 5 and up, the target would have been net 5, and net standard was on the way out. I kind of thought that too, but I was reading about it yesterday, and it was net standard 2.1. Mm-hmm. So I was surprised, because I originally had these as net 5.0, but
Well, can you fix your functions project now with that link from Bolt?
Well, I'm going to look. Now it looks like I just have Secret Manager is not compatible with Net Core App 3.1. So 3.1 supports Net Standard, I thought. So Net Standard. And maybe we should just ditch the whole net standard silliness and quit trying to figure this out, because
go to .NET 5 and
I'm just trying to do things like the right way, right?
Make them work, then fix them.
I thought like that'd be the right thing to do. So net standard. Oh wait, I zoomed in too much and I lost the thing. Okay, so net standard 2 is implemented by .NET Core 2.0 and .NET Framework 4.6.1.
Yes.
2.1 is .NET 5 and .NET Core 3, but no .NET Framework.
Mm-hmm.
So
if you want to consume in the .NET app, then you need to have 2.0.
Yeah, so if you want to do framework, you need 2.0. But then I thought having both of them meant we could set up for success. But the thing is, so like .NET Core App 3.1 is greater than .NET Core 2.
Yeah.
And now it's telling me Secret Manager is not compatible with .NET Core App 3.1. It only supports .NET Standard 2.0, which I thought that was the whole point, was say I use this standard and anything else would be compatible with it. So I don't know. That's where so that's what I've been working on the past couple of days and trying to sort of get sorted out with. Mm-hmm. And you'll notice I have. And the thing is, I found that this CS Proj I find it very difficult to find
information.
I found it very difficult to find information on this in the docs, especially like this project reference item. So, yeah, I don't know. It's Tropical Geek says, seems one needs a few PhDs to do this. Yeah, and I have 0 PhDs. So we're going to have to. So anyway, maybe I was hoping like Brady could help us. I don't know.
Somebody who knows that. Emo. I think Emo is the person that we need to pull in. But I don't think we can get him on the stream just for that.
Yeah, so at least in the interim, this is what I'm going to be working on. But I'll publish this up to GitHub, and we'll have a link out later. But now it looks like now I've just got some other project incompatibilities that I need to go sort out. But that's no big deal. I can do that. Like, that's not a big deal.
So what you're saying to us is that you finished the Secret Rotator in secret, and now you're just publishing the new package.
No. I didn't finish it in secret. There's still absolutely work to be done. For example. In the Secret Manager, when we get the expiring credentials, we are leaving that up to the viewer. Here's a list of expiring creds. What do you want to do with it? Because my thought was, if I'm in an Azure function, maybe I want to queue it up to go do something else. If I'm on-prem, maybe I want to put it into like
print it out. Maybe you want to print it out.
That's right. Maybe I want to print it out, and I've got another console app that goes and reads the standard out, and then goes and sends a log to a human being who says, "Oh, I should go do something about these secrets."
No, I was thinking like proper paper. Like you take the paper stack and you take them to somebody's desk, and he's like, "Hey, you need to rotate these secrets."
No, even better. One of those dot matrix printers.
Dot matrix.
Just every day. Just starts printing out of somebody's desk, and you're like, "Oh, these are the credentials I need to rotate today." They like unroll and roll.
We're hiring for a new role. It's a Secret Rotator. It's very interesting. It's working with cutting-edge technologies, including dot matrix printer and manual entry data entries. Now we can create a web forms or a WinForm app that you can enter the new credentials and it will go and update via graph. How about that?
Perfect. Yeah, like I think there are all sorts of, and that's why I was thinking like, well, this is pretty. Like this has some usefulness that shouldn't be bound to a host. So I thought, well, let's make it a module, and it gives I've never made my own NuGet package to ship. Like I've used build pipelines and stuff to build repos and things, but I've never built like a NuGet package to ship. So I thought, well, this would be a good way to learn how to do that.
I built a few. I built one that was called Azure Storage, which was a BCL. No, BCL? No, it wasn't a BCL. It was a PCL. Portable Class Library.
Oh, nice.
If you went to, and then the Azure SDKs reached out to me and said, "Can you please give us the name because you're cyber squatting the Azure.storage, which is a core component."
What did you rename it to?
Did I rename it to? I didn't rename it. Let me see. If I go into my NuGet, I will see what I have it. I just gave them ownership of the package in effect, so they overwrote the contents.
That's funny.
Man. I
don't know. I think like I don't know. I thought it'd be a cool thing for me to learn was like if I wanted to publish a NuGet package like as a public thing.
Yep.
How to you got to do strong naming and signing and all that stuff and set up pipelines, and I just thought it'd be a neat thing to learn at the same time of actually solving our problem, which is billions of secrets need to be rotated sooner rather than later. But you brought up an interesting point too about the web form or WinForms thing too. It's like, what if you were to take what if you were to do some like COM interop between. What if you do some like COM interop to go talk to your CA? That's a good call, Bolt. It is, although I believe the comma also works. But yes, that should be a semicolon between those two. So I don't know. Like, I think there's some cool stuff. Like, you could generate a cert. You could make a cert request to your own private CA, your local CA in your enterprise, and then publish that. Publish the public key into Azure AD via Graph, and then maybe you want to call Azure ARM to go update the private key that your app is using in Key Vault or something, right? I mean, all sorts of things that you might want to do, and you may not want them to be on you may not want them to run in Azure. You may want them to run locally. So
nice.
So anyway,
I've got my packages still up there. Let me.
Oh, cool! Send me a link. I want to see it. What's it called?
I'll show you that. Look at that. I got Azure Security. I still own that one. Nobody has come to claim it. I've got an ES generic repository. I have a Microsoft SQL DACPAC tester. So if you ever done, was it like Microsoft SQL Server? What was the report? Not Crystal reports, but it was this kind of other thing that .NET would allow you to create RDLC reports. RDLC.
Oh, yes.
And this was a tester. Yes. You could actually upload your RDLC and it would run it. But to do that, you had some NuGet package you had some it was SQL dependencies that if you didn't have SQL installed, it wouldn't run. So I wrapped up this into a NuGet package. And it has 390,000 downloads, just to show you that it adds value. And then I had my password manager, and then, the RDLC report runner. This is like an epic
There
tool.
it is.
20,000 downloads. I'm helping
That's
people.
awesome.
Yeah, I haven't updated them in forever. But you can be a NuGet package owner too and get some stuff done. Yeah. Nice. I don't even remember what was in here. Like, look at that. 6,000 downloads. I don't know what this does. I don't even have the code.
Key management.
Encryption, key management protection using combination of SSL certificates, blobs, and table storage in order to offer cryptographic services to. Oh, yes! Oh, I remember this one. This would allow you to encrypt stuff. Like it was an encryption library, so you could go and encrypt things or sign things. I think that was prior to Key Vault.
Oh, nice.
I think is there a download package project site? I don't think I have a project site. Oh, I do!
Look at that!
Oh my God, we need to revive this thing. I'm right. I even have tests. I mean,
look, there's a Gitter. There's a Gitter chat.
There's a Gitter chat. That's
awesome.
God,
look at that.
I mean, they have gone to nowhere.
7 years ago was that initial.
This is ancient history, my friends. Oh, that's somebody's awesome. Like, hey, when are you going to upgrade your package? So, it started 7 years ago, and then 4 years ago, I had to update the package because people were using it. God.
That's awesome. I love it.
I had a contributor as well. Check this out. That's insane.
Work around those shortcomings.
Yeah. So it instantiates an encryption helper. This is ancient history, friends. I don't even remember having that.
Oh, look at that. Server.matpath tilde app data.
Yeah,
that
bring it on. Well, you have to update a certificate, right? And then you could use that to encrypt stuff. Encrypt and base 64. I need to add a ROT32.
Anyway, ThingsBet asks why Mixer was shut down. Yeah, I have no idea. Do you have any idea why Mixer got shut down, Christos?
There was a lot of debate about toxicity in that team and some issues with employers, employees, and what have you. And some people left from the engineering team, and they made a little bit of noise. And then the community were like, "Well, why is Microsoft not doing anything?" And the answer was to shut down the service. I think that this is what happened. They tried to fix the problem by pulling the service, the plug on the service. But
yeah. Well. Anyway, so that's awesome. So you can help me. You're gonna have to help me figure out all the NuGet ins and outs so I can get these packages published. But
good. Let's see.
Yeah. So, you even got a test project. Nice.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, this was all properly. I have a new spec that you can use to package.
Nice.
And I had single targeting. I think it was single targeting.
Well, this was MS Build, right? So this is like This was pre.NET Core, right?
Pre.NET Core,
right
yeah.
around the time of Core. Yeah, solution.
So,
nice.
So everything was new spec, right? I think you had to. But how did I? Oh, you know what? I was using the NuGet ID. I was using the NuGet ID to package.
Look at those webcam fig transforms. Nice. Yeah, this is awesome. It's like a trip down memory lane. It's wonderful.
Yeah, dude, I was writing code back then. Uninstall, install. I mean, oh yeah, you had to uninstall first before you install yours in the web config, right?
So was this to add SSL to a web app?
No, this was to add an encryption helper service, which was using SSL to allow you to, like, it was using the SSL to sign or encrypt, almost like to add entropy, right?
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Yes.
Cool.
Look at that. Microsoft Data EDM.
EDM. Oh, nice. Oh. So when you go, like BSD guy just said, 6 forks too. See where the forks are.
Oh no, I don't want to fork it. Can you see these? Oh, you can see?
Yeah.
Oh, look at that.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
You got a pull request. Who put in a pull request?
What? No, update project latest.NET framework.
May 10th. That was like the other day.
We should approve it. So we approved?
It was a month ago. Yeah, let's go look. Well, let's look at it at least.
Oh, let's see. That's amazing.
Is that May 10th of this year? Like last month?
Like last month.
Nice.
Damn.
We still use it internally. So, that's awesome.
Oh, wow.
Look at that.
All tests are now passing. Man, updated to use the new Azure storage. I mean, there's a lot of stuff there. Should I go back and say, can you please squash all these and do a rebase?
That's the first step to being an OSS maintainer, is to be condescending to people who do work.
No, I love it. Yeah. This is amazing.
It's awesome.
Right, move the blob ID into each test so it does not clash with all the tests. That's brilliant. Removing old packages, updated to the new storage SDK. Let's see this change here. I'm telling you, the open source community is awesome. Yeah, they rewrote all the stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that. Yes.
Look at that.
Yeah, fine.
That is cool. I love it.
You know what? I'm going to approve this, baby.
You should approve them and get the new version on NuGet.
I don't even know how to produce. Yeah.
We need to send Hesketh like a mug or something.
Yes, we should.
Yeah.
So pull request and
Chicken Man.
What does he say?
He says, "I swear every time I watch this show, these guys dig up some ancient technology."
It's not ancient. True. We're using all the latest on Azure. There you go.
Well, it's not ancient anymore because of this great pull request from Hesketh.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's not ancient. See, open source. You never know. My God, I am really happy that we actually looked into my NuGet now, and
I know that's awesome.
I
was trying to find your.
I was trying to
find your.
Go on.
I was trying to find your username yesterday. I tried all the common ones and I couldn't find it. Now I know, so I now know the new one, so I can add you to our 45 show organization, so we can publish some. We can publish some libs.
Some NuGet packages, yes. I am really. We didn't even plan for these people. This is all impromptu.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah. So yeah, necessary encryption, key management, and protection using combination. I need to go through the code because I don't even remember what it does. But it's definitely
BSD guy says, "Why not Fox Pro?" I mean, we've got a Fox Pro dev environment. Remember?
Be careful what you ask for. But I think WinForms and WebForms will be good. In fact, we are recording. Give us ideas. We are recording migration from legacy to modern auth in 2 weeks for on .NET Show. What kind of app would you like to see migrated to a modern auth? Any legacy stuff that you have?
Send us your gnarliest, most painful migrations that you're trying to migrate to Azure AD. Send it to us. 45 show at Microsoft.com. Send it to us in Discord, whatever. Send us the identity, the grossest identity problem you have in migrating apps to modernize them. And
we'll do it for you.
We'll do it. We'll see how much of it we can do.
Yes.
Yeah, careful. That's very true. Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying we're going to do it. I'm saying we'll look at it.
We'll try. Yeah.
We'll evaluate. We will. In fact,
nice...
if you're interested, come on the show and you can walk us through what your crazy code does.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like if it's super painful. Although Rocket Man did tell us that he has an 18-year-old line of business app that he's retrofitting with gRPC and certificates. So maybe we should be careful. We'll be setting up Windows AD labs before we know it. So,
should we add the link one more time for the learn thingy?
Yeah. So I got so the learn link.
I've got it. I've got it if you want.
Is learn implement identity, right?
Yeah. That's the
so.
one.
Mondays through June, Mondays from now until July 12th, we'll be doing these workshops. It's at 5 p.m. 5 apps that use hard-coded IPs. Nice. Guacamole. I like it. That reminds me of CL Dubois, which we haven't seen him in a while. I don't know what he's up to.
Man, we need to get Corey in.
I know, we really do.
We need to do the speed run.
That's true. We're gonna do an Azure AD B2C speed run. So anyway, join us every Monday between now. We're not going to do it July 5th because it's a holiday, but every Monday between now and July 12th, we will we'll be on for a couple hours walking through the learning path. You can do the learning path yourself and come and ask questions or do whatever. So please come and hang out, get some free training, I guess. If you can call it training coming from us.
Yeah.
You get free commentary. How about that? It's worth exactly what you pay for it.
Lively commentary.
That's right. So
I like how Rob goes, you need to interact more with each other. Like, dude, we do this every day, all day. I don't think we need more interaction.
It's like it's super serious and produced when we do the Learn TV thing, and they're like we have to rehearse, which is super awkward because we don't rehearse as it is. And then the whole time we're doing it, he's like, you guys aren't talking enough to each other. And it's like, because you've gotten into our heads and you've told us, like, we have a producer for starters, which of course we never have when we're doing this. There's a producer. They've got like slides and all the stuff. And it's like, well, hold on. Like, just like, you're making us overthink this. So anyway.
Yes.
So come hang out with us on Discord. Monday we'll be back. Tuesday we'll be back. Wednesday our IT pro friends will be here. And next Friday Brady will be here. Or no, sorry, a week from Tuesday Brady will be here. And we should go find somebody. Let's find somebody to go raid.
Yeah,
it
James
does feel
Magna is on. InstaFluff is on. Clark.io is on. Where should we go?
You go to Clark?
We can go to Clark. We love Clark. He's a light theme, as always. I think Fridays are chill for him, so he's not doing anything. Do you ever scream out? No, we had one that was like more passion. It wasn't more passion. It was more energy. More energy.
More energy.
Yeah, JP still has nightmares about that.
I do. We record. So we put together a 30 or a 2-minute video, and we had to record maybe 30 seconds of it, and it took us. It took Chris 20 minutes. It took me an hour and 40 minutes.
I have the energy. Don't need more.
They just kept saying energy. So, hey, let's go raid Clark. And
Clark is the dude.
Chicken Man says that when we get there, we have to type. Are those? What are those?
Zucchinis and clapping.
Zucchini clapping. Okay. Zucchini clapping? I mean, I guess we'll zucchini. So we're gonna go zucchini clap Clark. That's probably offensive to somebody right now. So.
Thanks for hanging out with us, everyone. Yeah.
Have a great weekend. See you on the other side. Bye, everybody. Zucchini clapping. I have no idea what that means. What is a zucchini clap?